guys, welcome back to another film review, and today I've got my friend again here, Mr. P from the Mr. P movie channel.
Hey, what up guys, how you keeping?
I hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be reviewing Batman, the 1989 classic.
Batman was directed by Tim Burton and it stars Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton in the title roles of the Joker and Batman. And in this film we see Batman take on his arch nemesis, the mysterious crime lord, the Joker. Now Joe, before we get into this film, let me tell you a few bits and pieces about this film. That there was some controversy surrounding this film before it even got into production. Okay, number one, the dark tone that Batman was going to take. This film adopted its tone from the Frank Miller novels, and it drew its storyline from The Red Hood, which is a comic book in which we see Batman inadvertently creates the Joker after he falls into that vat of chemicals, and he creates the Joker. And there was a lot of controversy. Number one, the dark tone that it was going to take. Because when you think of Batman, we are so used to the 1960s classic that was starring Adam West and Burt Ward. So people were expecting something as colourful and as eccentric as that.
Now this was a complete departure from that.
Precisely, but the irony was, Bob Kane, who created Batman, he wanted Batman to be darker.
Yeah, a darker version, yeah.
Because he said, you know, everything has to be reflective of the times that we're in, and he wanted a vigilante who was ruthless, who was brutal, and attacked villains in the night. So everything had to be reflective of the times that we're in. Controversy number two was the casting. Even though you can't believe it now, Tim Burton and Michael Keaton were frowned upon when they were hired to do this project, purely because
they done Beetlejuice together.
Precisely, and they were more known for light-hearted comedic work.
And coming off that, I'm guessing people must have been thinking, well, how are they going to pull this off?
Precisely, they did that, and you know, Tim Burton had worked on Beetlejuice, he worked on Pee-wee's Playhouse. Michael Keaton was a very gifted comedic actor, and they were like, how are you going to do something so dark and gothic? And again, you ain't going to believe this, but before the internet, all these internet campaigns like saying, you know, don't hire this person, Warner Brothers received over 50,000 complaints from fans saying, we don't want these two in it. You're going to make a mistake. This is going to be...
I remember a bit of hoo-ha, during that time,
30 years on, who got the last laugh?
Yeah, Warner Brothers did, Well, they put their faith in them, and it paid off in the end. And to this day, it still holds its own, that film, even with the newer Batmans of Christian Bale. And talking of the cast, we had, alongside Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, we had Kim Basinger, who played Vicky Vale. Yeah. And Billy D. Williams as Black Harvey Dent.
Oh yes, and then he went through a little Michael Jackson metamorphosis, because then a few years later he looked a whole lot like Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, he looked a whole lot like Tommy Lee Jones,
Oh,
and the absolutely amazing Jack Palance, God rest his soul. And Jerry Hall as his love interest, also Jack Nicholson's love interest also. And Robert Wall as the...
Alexander Knox,
the annoying Alexander Knox, the reporter. And of course we had Alfred, who was played by
the late Michael Gough.
Which leads us to the first time we meet Batman, which is in the fundraiser scene.
Precisely, where we see Michael Keaton playing the enigmatic and basically mysterious Bruce Wayne.
That's right, you've got Vicky Vale and Knox. Then here is where we first meet Bruce Wayne, and they're walking around his gallery, aren't they, checking out his over-the-top museum and arsenal of war memorabilia. And we also get to see the first bit of action where we find out one of the police officers during the fundraiser comes up to Commissioner Gordon. Who plays Commissioner Gordon?
Pat Hingle.
Pat Hingle, my God, this guy knows his stuff. And he's been given a tip-off, which leads us to the Axis Chemicals, and one of your favourite scenes as well. Another great scene where he takes out Carl Grissom and then reads the newspaper and reads about Batman, and he says the famous line.
Where do they get a load of me?
And this is where the fun begins for me.
Get a more heartless Joker, who's more eccentric, but again, something totally different that we're used to. And where he says, nobody wants a war, so if you want to squash the beef, let's just shake on it.
That's right. This is him trying to take control of the crew, and whoever's not in on Joker's plan is expendable.
Oh, absolutely.
And Antoine being one of those people that is against Joker's ideas, comes to a nice and brutal demise.
Oh, understatement. I think it's quite shocking.
Oh yeah, it's quite shocking. And
oh, I got a live one here. Oh, there'll be a hot time in the old town tonight.
we also get to our first sight of Bob the Goon.
He's one of actually Jack Nicholson's best friends.
That's right.
And
yeah, I heard about that. And he got in the role, and he asks him to go and get some more information on Batman, and through this, he then gets to find out more about Knox and Vicky Vale, who he instantly madly falls in love with.
Oh yes, he said, she's going out with somebody she's about to trade up.
She's about to trade up. That's right.
And he said he's about to go get another girl, Bobby. And he said, I'm of a mind, make some movie.
Some absolute classic lines in this film.
I don't know whether he improvised them, but they just work beautifully.
I'd love to know whether he came up with those lines. It sounds like a guy of his age that comes up with those lines. Which brings us again to one of my favourite scenes, and one of the more comedic parts of the film, the Smilex commercial.
Oh yes.
So yeah, that scene just brings me to tears of laughter every time. The way he's jumping around with that trolley. The whole thing is just surreal, and you can actually tell by Michael Keaton's face in that scene that he finds this whole scene quite surreal, bizarre. To his Alfred's surprise, they both found it very bizarre. Which then, of course, brings us to some more action.
And again, it's got some beautiful musical compilations by Prince. May he rest in peace. Still can't believe that he's gone.
Yeah,
but
Prince done a fantastic soundtrack.
Yeah.
And it also went with the film.
Exactly.
It really did the type of music.
Some people thought it was out of place, but you know what? That's Tim Burton's style. He's so out of left field that it works. And the musical score in this film works, particularly by Prince.
Yeah, and if you notice, that music only ever plays when Joker's on screen. The Prince soundtrack. And that's exactly who that music goes with. You couldn't see that music work with in a Michael Keaton Batman scene.
Hell no.
But yeah, so if you notice throughout that film, it's only when Joker plays, even in the street parade. But that scene is fantastic. The way he goes around and destroys the art gallery, puts the gas in there, knocks everyone out, gets Vicky Vale for the date, the old flamethrower on the chandelier.
And they start decorating the paintings. Joker was here. I'm like, classic.
Love it. Yeah, Bob the Goon tries to cut one, and he seems to like that one, the slaughterhouse picture.
Leave it, yes.
Yeah, just leave that one. Yeah, love that scene, really do. And then we get another great scene where Batman crashes the party.
Precisely, but not before one of our favourite scenes where he's trying to woo Vicky Vale, and she throws water in his face. And
I almost forgot about that. Good man, the old boom boom. Love that scene.
And then Batman comes, smashes through the art gallery window, and then he just uses another one of his gadgets and just
the grappling line or something.
And just shoots them out through the door. And then Joker asks that iconic question: Where does he get those wonderful toys? And in this scene in particular, we get the first glimpse of the Batmobile. And I think on film, that has to be the best incarnation of the Batmobile.
Yeah, we're going to be asking each other at the end of this video what we thought of certain things and certain actors. But for me, there is no better Batmobile in my eyes.
It was futuristic. It had all the gadgets necessary.
You wanted one when you were
a kid, yes, man. Remember they had the merchandise? The
merchandise. Boy, did that, so we'll touch on that later. But
again, it had the grappling gun, it had the grappling machine guns, it had the landmines, it had everything.
The way it cocooned. Again, the special effects there.
Exactly. For that time, they were great.
In 1989, we're talking about here. Exactly. Really, really good.
But what I love most about this scene in particular is that we get to see Batman dispense with some villains, because there's a really, really great action sequence.
Really good hand-to-hand.
Where there's an action sequence where there's a car chase, where he's got the grappling hook, and then he just dispenses with all the Joker's men. But he also showcases his ability to not only do like individual combat but actually take on multiple opponents.
That's right.
And that guy with the swords.
Oh, that's a great fight. Yeah, he comes out, he's swinging and flying.
And he's just like, oh boy. And I'm like, that is just incredible. And then he takes Vicky, after rescuing her, into the Batcave. And again, that has to be the best incarnation of the Batcave.
Oh yeah, I do love that scene. I love that theatrical music that's playing while he's driving through the leafy road. The score, man.
Danny Elfman smashed it.
Let's talk about the score real quick.
Danny Elfman is a frequent collaborator of Tim Burton's. They worked together on Pee-wee's Playhouse. They worked together on Beetlejuice. They worked together on future films. And again, that score matches the tone of the film. Oh, yeah. It is dark, it is gothic, it is beautiful, and it captures Batman perfectly. And again, it was further used in the animated series with Batman.
That's correct, yeah. Hans Zimmer and Danny Elfman, for me, some of the greatest composers of the film.
But Danny Elfman captured Batman perfectly, and I think you will never hear a better musical composition reflecting Batman than Danny Elfman.
Oh no doubt. You hear that music, and you'll know it's Batman. It's
yes, absolutely.
And that's a good sign of a great composer.
Precisely. But yeah, the musical score, and it was just superb. I just loved it. It just worked beautifully. And again, the Batcave and how bleak and how gothic it was, and how he just got those screens, and how he was showing what Joker's plans were.
Yeah, it was really, really well done. I love the way, again, after driving down that road, he just bursts screen. You think they're going to crash. Vicky Vale thinks they're going to crash, and they just go through this tunnel, and that leads them into the Batcave. Really, really great scene.
Very, very great scene. And again, after knocking her out and taking her back home, she realizes that, Batman is giving her the plans to Joker's thing to poison everybody. They run a new press story, and then Joker
he was
a bit upset that he got knocked back by Vicky.
Yeah, Joker got really upset that he got knocked back by her, and he appears at her apartment, not knowing that obviously Bruce Wayne is there. And Bruce Wayne appears to try and save the day, if you like, try and get her out of this heavy situation.
And more importantly, tell her the truth about who he really is.
That's correct, yeah. He's trying to build himself up to tell her who he is, like, I'm Batman. I'm Batman. But you know how it is. They've done this in many films before where the superhero is trying to unveil who he is. They all do it. And the Joker has another great scene here where he's quite upset to see another hen in the another rooster in the hen house, as he puts it. And Bruce Wayne tries to play act it up, doesn't he?
Because he knows who he really is.
He does know who he really is at that point. And there's a great scene where Michael Keaton starts to say, you want to get nuts?
Come on,
let's get nuts. And he smashes. No, he doesn't smash.
Yeah, he picks up a sword and he smashes one of the vases on Vicky Vale's.
That's right. Yeah, he picks up the fire poker and smashes the vase. Yeah.
And then right there's the iconic scene where he knows who he really is, but there's another reason why he knows who he really is when he says, that iconic line where he picks up the gun and he says, "Help, my friend, have you ever danced with the devil by the pale moonlight?" And that's when he realizes, okay,
he killed my parents.
That's right.
Who killed my parents. There was a brief scene as well that we'll quickly touch on where Vicky Vale does follow him to the scene of where his parents died, and he lays some flowers. Mm-hmm. So that all comes into fruition with this scene. And so obviously Joker is still upset and just giving Michael Keaton his time to talk. Proceeds to shoot Bruce Wayne. He doesn't know he's Bruce Wayne, but he proceeds. No, he does. Yeah, Bruce Wayne, Nespa.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne. That's fine.
Yeah, he does know who he is. But that leads us into the next scene,
where he, in the Batcave, he reminisces about his parents' murder, and he realizes that the same person who said that was the same person who said to him that line in Vicky's apartment.
That's right. Yeah.
They were dancing the devil by the pale moonlight, and there was one scene that caused some controversy, where Alfred brings Vicky Vale into the Batcave. So it's like, okay, if you don't want to tell her, I'm going to give you the opportunity to.
That's right, yeah.
And there's a beautiful musical score by Prince called "Scandalous." If you Google it, you'll find out what it is. It's rarely heard, but it's a song where the two are just trying to not only get together but trying to find out, okay, where do we stand? Mm-hmm. Batman realizes that, you know what, this is what I have to do. I've tried to ignore it, but I can't.
Yeah.
And again, that was some brilliant acting.
Yeah.
By Michael Keaton. Considering the fact this guy's a comedic actor, he gave some really, really great dramatic performances in this film.
Yeah.
And there's one of the best lines and the best scenes that I've ever seen in this film, where the best time he says, he's out there, I've got to go to work.
That's right, yeah.
And then you got a Danny Elfman score again, and then we see Batman put on the bat suit.
Oh, I love that.
And you hear that dun, 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 and when he's putting on the bat cape,
cowl and the belt. Oh,
and you see his eyes, and I'm like, oh wow. Iconic scene where the Batmobile with Batman, or we thought it was Batman at the time, goes into Axis Chemicals and just destroys Axis Chemicals.
That's right. He's just using it by remote, and
precisely.
Yeah, again, you see some more of the gadgets from the Batmobile, and another fantastic scene.
The machine guns, the landmines. It blows up Axis Chemicals. The musical score by Danny Elfman. It just makes a brilliant scene.
Yeah, no dialogue during this scene,
Precisely.
Just pure action and soundtrack, and it works perfectly well. Really does.
And again, when he thinks that he's actually got the Joker, he hasn't, because then we see Joker in a helicopter and says, "Hey, you missed me. Yeah, watch me.
Yeah, watch me." Fantastic. And again, another great scene follows this with the now famous parade scene. Yes. One of your favourites.
One of my favourite scenes. And it's got a brilliant song.
One of my favourite soundtracks, songs from the film.
Prince, Trust.
What album was that on? Because
it's funny. I'm glad you asked me that, because what had happened was Prince he did so many songs that actually gave two different soundtracks. They gave one where it was just the music from the film, and then there was one where it was just Prince and the music that he'd done for the film. So everything from Party Man to Trust to Scandalous was on a separate soundtrack. And you got one of the best finales of all time, where after Joker decides, you know what, it's time to rid you, the little people, of the burden of your poor and pitiful lives. But if you don't
forget, if you're gonna go
with a smile.
Also, don't forget Batman at home washing his tights.
Washing his tights, because at the end of the day, people were still conflicted as to who Batman was.
That's right. That's correct. And Joker's trying to make
woo everybody with free money.
That's right. And
because in that scene, we've got to mention, he's actually thrown out $20 million in cash.
That's right. He announced that, and everybody was there ready for the parade, and he's throwing out all this cash. And here we get to see another one of Batman's iconic
toys.
Iconic toys, vehicles in
the Batwing.
The Batwing, and again, same as the Batmobile, for me, it's just although the Batwing in the Dark Knight Rises films looks pretty good. Actually,
it looks pretty good, but
very more high tech. Obviously, you have to go with the times. But if you're looking at the toys and the original cartoon, you just can't beat the 1989.
But that Batwing easily was the best one, because again, it had everything. It had the missiles. It had the machine guns.
I remember the toys, man. You press the buttons and the little Nerf bullets would fly out of it. Also, the sound that it made. The sound of the Batwing was phenomenal.
And again, one of the iconic scenes in this film where the Batwing, after it dispensed with all the balloons, it just flies up into the moon and it makes a bat signal. I was like,
I love
that. That was Tim Burton
all day. And also, of course, Joker gets real pissed over his balloons. Which were carrying Axis Chemicals.
Oh, yes.
He was obviously going to take out the crowd with these chemicals. So I don't know why he was giving out the cash, but
well, you had to bring out the people.
You had to bring them out, yeah.
So he did that, and then after that, he gets a little bit upset, and he asks Bob for his gun.
That's right.
And then he just shoots him.
Well, yeah, one of the scenes, one of the very few scenes, if not the only scene that I didn't really enjoy was Bob the Goon was very loyal throughout the film.
Yeah.
And I guess he killed him because Joker probably saw that he hadn't done his job, and he does ask him, why didn't anyone tell me he had one of those things?
But how was Bob to know?
So how was Bob to know? But he proceeds to take Bob's gun and shoot Bob the Goon. So it is a bit of a sad scene for me as a kid watching that. But I never understood it. But I guess I understand it more now. But I guess he didn't have to kill him. He could have come in handy later on.
The man's crazy.
He is. Well, he's definitely a loony bin.
But again, then we have that scene where Batman, he like zeroes in on Joker, but he uses the missiles and the guns to like destroy everybody else but the Joker.
Yeah, two scenes in very quick succession where that were strange. I'm glad you pointed that. He totally misses him.
Exactly. How do you miss that?
You actually see this intricate like targeting system from on the Batwing, and it completely misses him. And it's as if Joker knew that it was going to miss with his arms open wide.
Or maybe it's because that joke. Maybe because Batman can't kill. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, but still, then maybe not put that scene in. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a weird scene. But he brings out Joker brings out that ridiculous gun.
Oh, there's guns, and then there's that gun that he had. And I'm like, the barrel was like as long as my wall. Okay,
yeah,
this is for kids. But it's like it was a long ass gun.
I don't know how he walked with that thing, but I think it extends.
Something like that.
That's correct. Yeah, so that explains that.
And he just like destroys the Batwing with one shot, and it's like there's that iconic scene where it's a mixture of live and visual effects and miniatures. Where
I must say today that bit where it actually lands on the steps of the cathedral, the Batwing, it does quite look a
little bit dated.
It almost looks like it is. It's basically toys.
Yeah, it's miniatures, but it worked.
It worked. It definitely worked. But before we move on, like that scene is very reminiscent of the scene with Heath Ledger's Joker, where he's coming at he's coming at
damn right. You're damn right. On the tumbler.
That's right. Like the famous scene where he's just telling him to come at him as well. And I swear that was in homage to...
that has to be a homage.
Definitely.
That has to be a homage. I'm glad you brought that point up because there are so many references to that film. But yeah.
That is definitely the big one. But the cathedral scene...
Oh, the cathedral scene where, Batman has got no more toys left. It's just, it's just me. I've got to take out the Joker.
And battered and bruised Batman.
Oh, yes. And again, this, plays like a video game. Remember, like we mentioned last time?
That's right, with Double Impact. Yeah,
he's taken out all the other levels. So it's just him and about 3 of Joker's men. And again, merciless men as well. And what I loved about Batman in this scene in particular was the fact that he had some weapons where he had to take out some people. Do you remember the guy where he's like backflipping and he's coming up with the swords and Batman uses his hand?
That claw thing that comes out, almost like Predator. Yeah, I love that bit. The bell scene was pretty cool as well. Before that, that looked good.
That was done very well.
That scene with the bell coming down and destroying the hallway. And he uses
the acid.
The posy. Getting to see some of Joker's gadgets here for once as well. He actually used it in
he wanted to use it in
the gallery.
Yeah, he wanted to use it on her, but she.
Oh no, that's right. That's right. We never did see him squirt it. That's right, and that's from the cartoon as well. He uses that a lot in the cartoon.
But again, we get to see Batman dispense with some really, really hardcore individuals. You remember, like the henchman is just like beating him left, right, and centre.
Oh, the black dude, the bald dude,
with the glasses.
That was a tough fight. That was probably the hardest goon fight for Batman, no doubt.
And again, he smashed his head against the bell and he like throws him down.
The way he falls down, yeah, man.
And then we get the best scene in the film where Vicky notices that Batman is there. Then she tries to seduces Joker, Mr. Joker. Oh, I like you. Oh,
I love the colour purple.
And then there's that iconic scene where Batman comes up and says, "Excuse me, you've been down to the devil by the daylight." And knocks that Joker.
I love that scene. The old clapping teeth come out of his mouth and like chattering away.
And there's a beautiful homage to the comic book Red Hood, where he says, "I'm going to kill you," and he says, "He goes, you idiot, you made me."
That's right.
You dropped me into that vat of chemicals. That was a difficult thing to get over. I don't think I didn't try.
That's right, great.
And then like Batman says, "Well, you know what? I made you, but you made me first for what you did to my parents."
100%.
And that was a very, very...
That just sums the Joker and Batman relationship up.
Absolutely.
It really does.
And then there's that scene where he punched him and you think he's fallen over the ledge and you think, okay, that's it, he's gone. But then he drags them both over. That's
right. I don't know how again, that's the third thing that it didn't work out very well. I don't know how he done that.
Yeah.
How he drags a man in, like Michael Keaton in a bat suit. It was a bit strange. But anyway, I guess they had to make it work like that. And you got them hanging from the bricks. And this is now the famous scene where we think that Joker's going to be getting away.
Absolutely.
He gets the last of his few men that are in a helicopter to come and pick him up. They drop the old ladder down. And it was sad to see the Joker go.
Yeah.
Such a great character like that is always sad when you see their demise. But
and again, such a brilliantly played character as well.
Oh, so well played. But yeah, he
just did so well in that film. And again, just how he died, like he's about to be pulled away by the helicopter, and then Batman, I guess he's got this little...
It's a grappling hook again, and he hooks it up to the gargoyle,
gargoyle, and it hooks up to Joker's leg, and it drags him to his death. And then there's a scene where they're about to climb over to get back to the cathedral, and then they fall off. And
that's right.
And then there's a scene that looks a little bit stale and a bit dated where Batman
is hanging.
Yeah, where he puts the grappling hook and it dangles and it like attaches itself and they're like dangling.
You can clearly see the cathedral is superimposed in the background and that.
But there's that one scene in particular, one scene that was just brilliant, and it's just captured the film perfectly, where Joker's dead. He's like laying there in his death, and you can hear the laughing.
Yeah, it's his little toy in a little bag, isn't it? And it's like, love that scene.
And you can see him there, just like with his eyes wide open. Brilliantly played, and rightly he was nominated for a Golden Globe as well.
That's right,
so,
yeah.
Brilliantly played.
Oh, Jack's been nominated for so many things. Yeah. He really is a great actor.
But overall, as a film,
the legacy. Let's talk about. We've gone through the film. We've talked about our favourite scenes. The legacy of the film, 30 years on, Patrick.
The legacy of this film, 30 years on, it still holds its own as a classic. 100%. It showed that, it just showed how a comic book film can be made. It can show that merchandise in this film generated over 750 million. In merchandise.
We was one of those people that added to that with
we
the toys.
We had the cards, the toys, all that stuff.
I had all the figures. They were fantastic.
Yeah. And again, it influenced a whole generation of comic books, like the Batman the animated series.
Big influence, that's right. Yeah. Dark again, the darker version.
And again, much better. But more importantly than that, it influenced the trajectory of future comic book films, where it says that, a comic book film can be gritty. It can be dark, and it can still make money. And again, look at the comic books that have come after that.
Yeah, your Deadpools have your Deadpools have even though it was higher rated at 18, but your Deadpools and films like that and Blade, and
these films what about the last Wolverine film?
The last Wolverine film, yeah. I mean, how gory can that get? Precisely. Logan. These films have got Batman to thank for. It's as simple as that.
And again, legacy-wise, it's still one of the most enjoyable films. It can still hold its own. Character-wise, Michael Keaton knocked it out of the park. And again, because for me, he did for that role what Daniel Craig and Sean Connery did for the Bond films. Because again, Sean Connery and Daniel Craig, they were frowned upon as choice for James Bond.
That's right. But
look how well they did.
They did turn out very well. Looking forward to that new
Joker film.
The new Joker film and the new Bond film as well.
Oh yeah, we'll see how that one goes.
Yeah, I think Joaquin Phoenix is going to absolutely smash it out of the park. Right, which brings me to my last question. Who was your favourite Joker and Batman?
Okay, here's a good one. Okay, for me, I think my favourite Batman will always be Michael Keaton.
I'll agree with that.
Michael Keaton, he was charismatic. He set the trend, because I like how he brought his voice down an octave for like the Batman, which is what Christian Bale did for the future Batman films, and again for the cartoon as well. But okay, it's
and he was the first dark version of Batman.
Exactly, he was mysterious.
And for doing it the first time as well as he did, that's why he gets my vote.
Precisely, and I like how they just did both Bruce Wayne and Batman, because you remember there was always a question that they asked, like, who is this guy? Because nobody knew who Bruce Wayne was, nobody knew who Batman was.
That's right, yeah.
So that's very well. Okay, here's my question for you. Who's your favourite Joker? Heath or Jack?
This is always a tough question. If anyone gets asked this question and they're a fan or love Batman films, they'll probably struggle with this one as well. The only way I can put it is in the versions that they played.
Yes.
And for me, there's only two. Forget about Jared Leto's Batman. Again, Joaquin Phoenix will have his time to shine, and I'm sure he'll do a great job. But for now, we've got two that I'm most concerned about. Obviously, we have the more comedic version in the TV show that was played. Cesar Romero, who played a fantastically jokey, more funny side of Joker. But it was a TV show. But if we're talking about movies here, for me, Jack Nicholson's Joker was the best comedic Joker. But again, he was very cerebral, very violent, violent, very evil as well when he had to be. But as a comedic Joker and a bit of an all-round Joker, Jack Nicholson. But as a cerebral, as a pure mentally deranged Joker, there's no doubt that Heath Ledger's wins hands down. So again, my answer is really neither or. It's really both. But they played the Joker in different versions. You make a very good
politician because you never answered the question. But you know what? You're right. I mean, I think for the 80s, for that time, Jack. But for this generation who wanted a new and up-to-date version, Heath Ledger knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Quick way of putting it.
And even Mark Hamill's version in the animated series, he done a really good job.
I'm glad you put that point like that, Patrick, because that is a great thing to add. But as a voice actor in general,
he's incredible. I'm like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I mean, when I watch the cartoon, And every time he has to do that laugh, I mean, I just think of the effort that you have to put in to actually bring out that laugh. And like Joker does that laugh continuously in all the episodes. And just that way of the voice that he has to bring out, it's just fantastic. I really think he's great.
And you can tell that, you know, Heath probably drew some inspiration from that as well. Because if you listen to the animated version of the Joker by Mark Hamill and this one here by Heath Ledger, you can tell that there are some similarities.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man.
So guys, that's about it. I really hope you enjoyed our second film review.
The second of many to come.
Second of many. Hopefully, if you're wondering what's next, we're probably going to decide out of Commando or Total Recall.
Or Tango and Cash.
Oh yeah, Tango and Cash. I desperately want to do some Arnold films here.
Yeah,
and really, thanks for watching, guys. And thank you for continuing to watch. Thank you for all the support you gave our last video. We really, really do appreciate it. Please subscribe to our channels, the Joe Cobra Joe Cobra YouTube channel. Please subscribe as well to
Mr. P Movie Review channel.
Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on the next video. Thank you guys. Take care of yourselves.
Peace.